last person in the room when
Exactly.
decisions were made with Obama.
And they really bonded through their Biden's granddaughter and, of course, the president's daughter, who were basketball teammates.
They were
at Civil
classmates,
Friends.
yes, at school.
And then, parent-teacher conferences that they did together. And also, of course, through the illness and the death of Beau Biden, when President Obama reached out to the vice president and offered to pay his mortgage so he wouldn't have to lose his house paying the medical bills. All of that. That really is part of the character of Joe Biden. And I think that for any tensions that might have existed during that first debate and any presidential ambitions that she clearly has, as with the oldest elected president, she is obviously the front runner for any future Democratic leader, and that's going to be inevitable. They're both politicians. They're both ambitious.
We're not allowed to talk about the next election.
I would like to let's certify this one.
But let me just say that the point I'm trying to make is that they are going to be full partners, I believe, in this
Well,
project.
they have to be. I mean, I would just say that if they're not, they're going to have some governing challenges. I mean, it's going to be interesting. Joe Biden's going to be taking office in a moment of history where we're as a country, we're extraordinarily divided, and we're sort of hurt, pained, whatever metaphor you want to come. We need to heal the nation both figuratively and literally with COVID. But I would guess that the closest corollary we have is probably '76. Jimmy Carter comes in. We were an extraordinarily divided nation. And Joe Biden is almost this combination of Jimmy Carter and Gerald Ford. He's got the political he's got the political acumen of a Jerry Ford who understood Washington, the empathy and honesty and integrity and character of a Jimmy Carter. And so what Joe Biden, and I think this is what will be interesting to watch, this partnership. On one hand, Biden comes in, he's here to be a healer, and he's also the inside guy. Kamala Harris as a partner, she's there to sort of keep the progressives and sort of, the outside activists also, in a governing partnership. It's going to be interesting. If it's effective, that's what it'll look like. If it's ineffective, then we'll see the results later.
She's also a bridge to a new generation, I think, inside the Republican Party. You think of the arc of history that Joe Biden has seen in his political career, but we are, in fact, moving potentially forward, and he needs someone to help him do that.
Well, let's find out what the Trump White House is saying this morning. We've got Hallie Jackson on duty. I was just glancing at the popular vote. Yes, NBC News has projected that Joe Biden has won the election, but 70 million Americans voted for Donald Trump, 74 million approximately for Joe Biden. Where is the White House on this call, and where is the president right now?
Physically, Savannah, he is not here at the White House. President Trump, right now, as this race is being called by NBC News, is at his golf course in Virginia. This is not the rebuke of Trumpism that some of the president's critics had hoped, but it is a defeat for the president, and it is one that over the last 24 hours, aides, advisors, and other sources that I've talked to have come to a realization about. I believe you're looking at some video of the president in the motorcade on the way to that golf course earlier today. The president, even as recently as within the last hour, has been defiant about this election's results, tweeting that he won this election. He clearly has not. That is not the case either with the popular vote or, of course, with now that 270 electoral college vote threshold. A tweet so misleading and incorrect that Twitter again slapped a warning label on it, basically hiding it to prevent it from spreading further. You're taking a look now at the scene that is just outside the White House where I am, and it is people in Black Lives Matter Plaza. That's what it's called here in Washington. It's just outside the fencing that's been put up at the park in front of the White House. That crowd has been getting bigger, and when the race was called, there was a cheer that erupted from that plaza. I can tell you that as I departed here at, midnight last night, they were blasting news reports of the race. There, folks outside in D.C. are listening to the returns, and they have been for the last day or so. Elsewhere in D.C., you heard cowbells, you heard honking, you heard cheering. It's obviously a very Democratic city, politically leaning for people here, so that is not particularly surprising. I will say that for the Trump campaign, we have heard nothing yet. I have reached out, our team has reached out to contacts in the campaign for reaction here, but the legal fight, their perspective is that the president, and we know this, is going to keep on fighting until he has exhausted every possible recourse. In fact, as we speak, up in Philadelphia, there's set to be a news conference with some of the president's top advisors, Rudy Giuliani, Corey Lewandowski, Pam Bondi, about the legal push that they're mounting in that state. It looks like an uphill climb. The campaign so far has presented no evidence to back up any of its claims, not just to the news media, but to judges who have dismissed these cases in other states like Georgia and Michigan. This is a blow, obviously, for President Trump. It is a reality that he is going to need to face. I was told at about 10 o'clock last night by a couple of folks close to the president that he understood that he saw the writing on the wall, the writing that is now on the wall this morning here on NBC News as we've called this race. The question is, what happens next? I understand that he has no plans to concede until the recounts, the canvassing, the certification process has been finished in these battleground states. The latest deadline for that is December 1st, I believe. But anybody waiting for a concession from President Trump is going to be waiting quite a while longer, I believe. This is a president who has been inaccurately, incorrectly, and misleadingly claiming that this election has been, in his view, stolen from him. Again, there is no evidence of the fraud that the president is talking about, no evidence of widespread fraud or systemic problems. It is likely that he will continue to keep up that messaging and that narrative. Now, will he speak with reporters? Will we be able to see the president, the current president of the United States, at some point today? It is possible. There is always a group of people traveling with the president. It is not out of the realm of possibility that pool, that group of reporters, could be called as the president makes remarks. We are still working to find out what the plan is, when he might come back to the White House here. We do expect that, obviously, at some point throughout the day. But at this moment, this is the worst case scenario that the Trump campaign had been bracing for. I think people around the president's orbit knew this was coming and were trying to prepare him for this news as well, Savannah.
Yeah, and Casey, you've been talking to your sources on the Republican side of things. How do you see this playing out over the next few days? Hallie just reported it's very unlikely we're going to get a concession call from President Trump. How will this go forward, do you think?
That makes sense, and I think that my sources are likely expecting that to happen, but I think the challenge for Republicans and the push that we're going to see behind...
There you go. Joe Biden wins. Thank you. Thanks to everybody who voted. And now we start to see some results as soon as Joe Biden can get in. Thank you, thank you, thank you all who voted.